This is your absolutely complete guide to applying for a Thailand tourist Evisa and Thailand Pass. Fully revised for the February 1st Test and Go program. Hi, this video is a comprehensive guide to filling out the online Evisa form for a Thai 2-month TR tourist visa that's extendable for another month. There are a lot of pitfalls in filling out this online application. I've experienced them and you can benefit from my experience. In any case, I wish you good luck with your application and have a great trip to Thailand. Let's begin by getting the required COVID insurance. Start by opening your browser. I'm using Google Chrome. DLA Consulate suggests getting your insurance through Covid19.tgia.org. You'll see a notice that this insurance is specifically for travelers coming to Thailand from abroad. It covers only COVID and is not a general health insurance policy. Click here to buy COVID-19 insurance. Click the red Buy Now on the next page. Now you can begin to fill in the form, but you'll immediately see a problem. While the form allows you to specify the date of arrival, it doesn't allow you to specify the date of departure. And when you go to click on the period of coverage, you'll see that it only has an option for a 30-day coverage. What's going on? When I called TGIA, they told me that they no longer provide COVID-19 insurance for periods of time greater than a month. They suggested that I go to the website for Axa Insurance, which is what I did. So if you're planning to stay for only a month, you could continue filling out this application. It's straightforward. Since I'm planning to stay at least 2 months, I'm going to go to the Axa website. So type in axa.go.th. You see on the Axa webpage in the upper left a box that says Sawadi Thailand, Inbound Travel Insurance. Click on that. Page down until you see a chart with coverage amounts. Click on the red box Buy Now of one of the two columns. I'd suggest choosing the one on the left. I don't think there's a good reason for buying more expensive coverage. The insured information is straightforward. Note that you can't type in the date of birth. You have to use the calendar. You should select the year first. If you select the month first, you could momentarily be selecting a date in the future, and the application doesn't allow this. Select your start date and end date. Your duration of stay will be shown on the right. I selected my dates so as to have a period of 90 days. I'm expecting to extend my visa from 60 days to 90 days, and I didn't want the hassle of having to extend the insurance policy. Use the pull down to indicate your country of departure. Indicate whether you've traveled to another country in the past 30 days, and agree to the 2 conditions at the bottom of the page. Note that this insurance is not intended for people already in Thailand. Now click the orange rectangle at the bottom of the page to request a quote. The quote is for 6,200 baht for 3 months, which is about $200, and that's not bad. So one disturbing note in the small print, it says, insurable age 1 to 74 years upon the policy effective date. A number of companies do provide this insurance for people older than 74. I suggest that you email or phone the insurance company directly. Here are rates from Luma Insurance. I'll put their URL in the description of the video. Now click on the orange rectangle, Buy Now. You'll be asked to fill in a few more items of information. It's straightforward. Click on Contact and Address to fill in your address. Answer the 2 questions. For me, the answer was no. Then click on the orange rectangle, Submit. Review the information, and if it's correct, Click Buy Now. Next, you'll fill out the usual credit card information to pay. After you pay, you should receive your policy by email in the form of a PDF. You'll submit this PDF electronically when you fill out your Evisa, but you'll also want to print out the complete policy to take with you, as this will be checked at the airport on your departure and checked again at your arrival in Thailand. Now that you've got your COVID insurance, it's time to book a hotel. If you're in the Test and Go program, you'll need to book your first night and your fifth night at an SHA Extra Plus hotel. Note that the designation SHA Extra Plus has now replaced the old designation SHA Plus. The two hotels don't need to be in the same location, since you can travel between your first night and your fifth night. If you're in the Sandbox program, you'll need to book all 7 nights at an SHA Extra Plus hotel. It's not obvious to me right now in what situation someone would now choose the Sandbox over Test and Go. If anyone knows the answer, please post a comment. Here's one list of SHA Extra Plus approved hotels. I'll put a link to the site in the description. Normally I book through hotels.com, but in this case I think it's a good idea to book directly with the hotel you're going to stay at. Most reasonable hotels are SHA Extra Plus approved. I stayed at the Ibis Kata Beach, which is a very nice, clean, low-cost hotel not far from the beach. Here's the email that I got back from the Ibis. They're reminding me to register for my PCR test. Actually, you'll need to register for 2 PCR tests, one on arrival and one for the 5th day. They're reminding you to download and then register on the Morchana app, which will be described later. And they're providing information about the required transport directly from the airport to the hotel. You will need to book this transport through the hotel. Now that you've reserved your hotel, you'll want to go ahead and book your flight. You'll need a round-trip flight, and you'll need an inbound flight that stops directly in Phuket or whatever your final destination is in Thailand. You can't fly, for example, to Bangkok and then transfer to Phuket. You can look for your flight on a site like Kayak, but once you've found the flight you want, I suggest that you book directly with the airline. With COVID, there's a likelihood that your plans will change. The airlines have been very accommodating about allowing changes, but if you book with a travel agency, you'll find that making changes is much more difficult. As I said earlier, the rules require that you have a round-trip ticket. However, in the past, it's been acceptable to buy a ticket from your home country to Thailand, and then a ticket from Thailand to some onward destination, which might be close by. This would allow you to continue your trip, and in fact, you might choose not to use the inexpensive onward ticket. There's little risk in trying this. If your visa application is refused because they want a round-trip ticket, given that the airlines are making ticket modifications quite easy, it should be no problem extending your one-way ticket to Thailand to a round-trip ticket. Just verify the ticket change policy before purchasing. It's not too soon to start thinking about what you're going to read on the long trip to Thailand. Let me recommend my novel, Slaughtering Girl. Slaughtering Girl looks at what happens when a child who slaughters poultry grows up to become a warrior. The story is set in China during a century that saw the fall of the Qing dynasty and an epic conflict between communists and nationalists. The ebook is inexpensive and weightless. If you're interested in Asian culture, this book about love and war might be exactly what you're looking for. Why don't you give it a try? Links to purchase my books can be found in the description of this video. And now let's get started on your Evisa. Type in thaievisa.go.th. The first thing you'll see is a pop-up with 2 notices. It's the second notice that's important. It says that you no longer send your passport physically to the consulate to get a visa stamp. Instead, a document will be emailed to you that you show on arrival. Acknowledge that you've read the notice. Click on Create Account. Now you're at the Create Account panel. Make sure that Individual is selected. Type in your first name, family name or last name, your country. If you type in the first few letters, a pull-down will appear, making the selection easier. Type in your phone number, making sure to click on the flag corresponding to your country code. Type in your email address. Type in a password, following the rules that are shown. Retype the password to confirm it. The password rules are shown here. Type in the CAPTCHA challenge. If you have difficulty reading it, you can get another by clicking on the circular arrow to the right. Now, click Create Account. If you forget to click on the terms and policies I did here, you'll be reminded. You'll see the notice again and dismiss it. Now you can sign in. Provide the email that you created for the account, type in the password, and complete the CAPTCHA challenge. Now you've reached the dashboard, where you can click on Apply for New Visa. The first step is to check your eligibility. So type in the country of your passport, type in your permanent residence, choose the consulate to which you'd like to submit your application. I chose the LA Consulate as I've had good luck with them. I have an ordinary passport. My purpose of visit is tourism. It fills in the visa type for you, tourist visa. For number of entries, choose single unless you have a good reason to choose multiple. A single entry visa is $40 compared to the multi-entry visa, which is $200. The financial requirements for single entry are also less stringent than those for multiple entry. But there are reasons to consider a multi-entry visa. The multi-entry visa allows you to leave Thailand and return when your 2-month stay is finished. In concept, if you return just before the 6-month validity of the visa, you could stay for 2 more months, or 3 if you get a 1-month extension. Thus, you could in concept stay in Thailand for about 9 months on your visa. This has worked for me in the past, and as far as I know, it can still be done. But please comment if you think this is not the case. The note below the pull-down says that if you're applying for a multiple entry visa, you need to prove that you have a genuine reason to visit Thailand on a regular basis. On my application, I wasn't asked to supply a reason, and my multi-entry visa was granted. Click Next, and now you're at the Applicant Information section. Here, you'll upload the biodata page of your passport. That's the page that has your picture and personal information. I used my iPhone to take a picture of the page, and I uploaded it to my laptop. The picture must be JPEG and no more than 3 megabytes. If you're on a Mac, you can use Preview to adjust the file size and the file type. Then you can either drag and drop the JPEG, or you can browse for it. I won't do that here because I don't want to display the information page of my passport. On the right-hand side of the page, you're going to upload a passport-style photo. Again, I took the photo using my iPhone against a white background. Click on Download Example Photograph to see the do's and don'ts of taking these pictures. Again, you can drag and drop or browse for the uploaded file. You'll see a message if there's a problem with the photo. Hope the video has been useful so far. We're going to pause for a brief advertisement. I'm going to suggest that you buy one of the books that I've written. Links to Amazon and Audible are below if you'd like to order them. Vientiane Affair is a political thriller set in 1961 in Laos, at the very beginning of the CIA's secret war in that country. Fred Jenkins, an aid worker, is found floating in the Mekong. Jenkins' friend, Jack Gold, who works for the CIA, has no idea why anybody would kill Fred Jenkins. It's not really his job to get involved, but Jenkins was a friend. Right around the same time, a flaming redhead, Janet McCann, arrives at the embassy. Jack Gold is interested. Anyway, I hope you'll go on this beer-soaked adventure. There's plenty of action, sex, history, politics, murder, and espionage. So I hope you'll read it. Personally, I recommend listening to the audiobook. Anyway, have a look at the links down below. And if you enjoyed this video, why don't you consider ordering one of my books? Okay, back to the video. Type in your title, Mr., Mrs., Ms., and the gender will be filled in automatically. Type in your first name. Supply your middle name if it appears on your passport. Type in your family name or last name. Type in any other name you've had in the past. I don't have one. Type in your full name in your native alphabet. English is my native alphabet, so I'll leave this blank. I type in my telephone number, my email. Type in your country of nationality or citizenship. Indicate whether you hold any other nationality or citizenship other than the one you just typed in above. I don't. The U.S. was my country of nationality at birth. My place of birth is the United States. My city of birth was New York City. Type in your date of birth. Notice what happened here. I typed in 5 May 1953, but when I hit enter, it put in today's date without an error message. You're required to type in the leading 0, so it should have been 05 May 1953. So be careful if you're going to type in the date that after you hit enter, it actually shows the correct date. My marital status is single. The type of travel document is a passport. I type in the 9-digit U.S. passport number. The place of issue is the United States. I type in the date of issue and the date of expiration. Type in your home address, your city, and your country. Indicate whether your permanent address is the same as your current address. In my case, it is. I'm retired, and I indicated my annual income. Now, click Save, and it's a good idea to click Save often. Now you can select Next. We've now reached step 4, where we upload supporting documents. The first 2 documents have already been supplied, so we'll go down to number 3, the declaration. So download the declaration, and you open it up. You can use your PDF editor, if you have one, to fill in your name, signature, and date. I just used Preview on my Mac to fill in this information and save the document. You could also go low-tech by printing out the form, filling it out, signing it, and taking a picture. Now you can drag and drop the declaration that you just filled out, or you can browse for it in order to upload it. Number 4, the travel booking confirmation, is just your round-trip airline ticket. For proof of accommodation in Thailand, you want to provide a fully paid receipt for your stay at an SHA Extra Plus hotel. In the case of the Sandbox program, that's straightforward. You'll supply a receipt for a 7-night stay issued by the hotel. For Test and Go, if you're staying at the same hotel for the first 5 nights of your stay, you can just submit your receipt for that fully paid 5 nights. As I mentioned earlier, it's not necessary to stay at the same hotel on the 1st and 5th nights. This entry for proof of accommodation allows you only to upload a single file. If you want to upload multiple reservations, you could, for example, combine PDFs into a single PDF. Just search for programs that will do this online. Or you could drag your multiple PDFs into Word or Pages and print this new file to a PDF. You can also do this using the Acrobat application, but not the Acrobat Reader. Another alternative is just to put your first night's reservation in this slot. But personally, I think if you're in this situation, it's best to supply all of your reservations by combining the PDFs. For financial evidence, they want a bank statement from the most recent month showing that you have a balance of at least $700 or $1,500 for a family. The requirements for a multi-entry visa are different. You have to supply 6 months of bank statements showing that you have a balance of $7,000 or $15,000 for a family. Again, the slot only allows you to upload a single file. If you have separate PDFs for the 6 different months of statements, you'll want to combine them into a single file, as I previously described. Number 7 is a little confusing. They want confirmation of legal residence in the case that you're not a national of the country in which you were applying for the visa. This doesn't apply to me, but unless you upload some document in this spot, you won't be able to continue. I uploaded my driver's license and they accepted that. Item 8 asks for an ASQ hotel reservation. You'd only have an ASQ reservation if you were participating in the quarantine program. So I just uploaded the SHA Extra Plus reservation that I already supplied in item 5. You have to upload something or you can't continue. Item 9 asks you to upload your COVID insurance policy. Earlier in this video, I described how to obtain your COVID-19 insurance. You should have your policy now in the form of a PDF. Upload that PDF now. Number 10 is a copy of your flight confirmation reservation. I just uploaded my round-trip ticket again. Number 11 requires you to upload all your passport pages that contain travel records for the past 12 months. In my case, all of those stamps were on a single page, but you may actually have a number of pages, and they have to all appear in a single file. So if you take photos of these passport pages, again, you'll have to combine them, perhaps by putting them into Pages or a Word document, and then printing a PDF. On point 12, again, they ask you for proof of residency. Again, I just uploaded my driver's license, and that was accepted. Number 13 asks you to please upload your picture holding the photo and information page of the passport. I believe that this is just a picture of the biodata page, which you've already supplied. So I supplied it again. Now click Save, and then you're done. Now check the information that appears in the pop-up, and then click Confirm. You'll get a message that your application has been successfully created. Now you can submit it. You'll be returned to the dashboard where you can manage your visa application. Click on the box to the left of the application that you submitted. Then click on the yellow rectangle in the upper right that says Proceed to Payment. Now you'll see the fee for your application. On the right-hand side, where it says Payment Info Summary, make sure that the information is correct, and then click the yellow rectangle that says Pay Now. Now you'll be shown a page that allows you to pay by credit card. Fill in the information and click Make Payment. You'll be taken back to the Evisa dashboard where you'll see your application. Now, instead of saying pending payment, it should say processing. If there's a problem with your application, you'll get an email from the Consulate describing what you need to do to fix the problem. My Evisa was approved in about 4 days. You'll receive an email with the description of your Evisa and the Evisa document itself. That, of course, you'll want to print out and bring with you. Once you're notified that your visa has been approved, if you go back to the dashboard, you'll see that your application has moved into the status Finished. Well, congratulations. Now you've got your e-visa. If you found this video helpful, you could like it or you could subscribe to my channel. But really what I'd prefer is if you bought one of my books. So have a look at the description where you'll find links to my books, Slaughtering Girl and The Vientiane Affair. The ebooks are quite inexpensive. I think you'll enjoy them, particularly on the long flight to Thailand. Anyway, if you appreciate the information in this video, please consider buying one of these books. Okay, now on to getting your Thailand Pass. Now we can apply for your Thailand Pass. In your browser, type in tp.consular.go.th. Hit enter, and the first thing you'll see is a pop-up. The lower part of the pop-up has the announcement translated into English. It's a good idea to read this notice, since the rules for the Thailand Pass change frequently. It's a good idea also to click on Urgent Announcement to see the latest notices. Again, there's an English translation below the Thai. Click on Non-Thai National. Click on English Language. The rectangle on the left describes the Test and Go program. Click on the list of eligible countries and territories just to verify that you're from one of them, and read the rest of the information. It says that you need to book at an approved SHA Extra Plus or alternative quarantine hotel for the 1st and 5th days. I don't see a reason why you would want to stay at an alternative quarantine hotel. Then click on the blue oval Select at the bottom of the rectangle. The middle rectangle contains instructions for the Sandbox program. I'll focus on Test and Go, but I'll point out differences between Test and Go and Sandbox as we go along. Click the oval at the bottom of the rectangle in order to select the Sandbox program. I won't describe the quarantine program here. I don't think many of you will be using it. For those who are interested, I made a video of my quarantine stay from April 2021 that provides details on how to apply. Probably a good idea to read this notice before clicking the box at the bottom. My purpose of arrival is travel. I'm departing from the United States. My first travel arrival port in Thailand is Phuket. I typed in my flight number, enter the date of arrival and the date of departure, and click the blue oval that says Register. Read the notice and click Confirm. Provide your title, Mr., Mrs., Ms., your given name or first name. Supply your middle name if it appears on your passport, your family name or surname, your nationality, your date of birth, your email, confirm the email, and your occupation. I'm retired. My type of passport is an ordinary passport. I provide my 9-digit U.S. passport number. And I upload the picture or biometric page of my passport as I did when I applied for the visa. The information page can be in JPEG or PNG format and can be no larger than 5 megabytes. Then select the blue oval that says Next. Click the box if you've recovered from COVID-19 in the past year. First box is for information about your first vaccination. Now select the vaccine type, in my case it's Pfizer, and enter the date of your vaccination, which should match what's on your vaccination card. Now use your phone to take a picture of the vaccination card. Again, it should be a JPEG or a PNG with a maximum of 5 megabytes. You can drag and drop it or click the oval for Browse File and then upload it. I didn't click the box for Add QR Code. Now go to the next box that says Vaccination 2 dose. The procedure here is exactly the same. My vaccination card has both doses on it, so I uploaded the same image in both cases. If you had a vaccine that requires only a single dose, you don't need to fill in the second box. Click the small consent box at the bottom of the page and then click the blue oval that says Next. It's really in the booking accommodation info that the various schemes differ. I'll first describe how this is done for the Sandbox, as this is very straightforward. Then I'll describe how this is done for Test and Go, which is quite similar, except you have the possibility of multiple reservations. So let's start with how I filled it out for the Sandbox program. Select SHA Extra Plus for the Test and Go or Sandbox programs. Select Alternative Quarantine only if you're in the quarantine program. My destination is Phuket. I'm staying at the Ibis Phuket Kata Beach. If you just start typing in Ibis, you can select from the pull-down. The address of the hotel is filled in for you. Type in the booking ID from your receipt. Type in your check-in and check-out dates. Now, we previously paid for 2 PCR tests. On the receipt for that test is the receipt number. Type that in now. Your hotel booking receipt probably came as a PDF, but here they want a JPEG or a PNG. Now, let's go back and fill out the booking accommodation info as if you're filling out the form for Test and Go. In this case, I'm using as an example the more complicated case where you're staying at 2 different hotels on the 1st and 5th days. Start by using the pull-down to identify the province that your hotel is in. Type in the name of the hotel. Type in the address of the hotel. Type in the booking ID that appears on your hotel reservation. Use the calendar pull-down to indicate your check-in and check-out date. You should have a receipt for your 2 reserved RT-PCR tests. Type in the receipt number. Now upload a JPEG or a PNG file with a maximum of 5 megabytes showing your document of booking. If your document is a PDF, you can supply a photo of the document in this spot, and then at the end of this section, you can supply additional PDFs. I think it doesn't hurt to supply both. Now we'll go through exactly the same procedure for your stay on day 5 in Thailand. In this example, we select different booking from day 1. I just took a photograph of the first page of the reservation, and that was accepted. We've now completed the booking accommodation info for the cases of Sandbox and Test and Go. Beginning with permanent address outside Thailand, the form is essentially the same for both Sandbox and Test and Go. Now type in your permanent address outside of Thailand and your overseas mobile number, including the country code. They want the name of an emergency contact and a mobile number for that person. Click Next. Now type the policy number that you'll find on the front page of your COVID insurance. The next 2 questions should both be answered yes. They're required for the Thailand Pass. Type in the effective date of the COVID policy. Upload a JPEG or a PNG of the policy. I took a photo of the first page of the policy. List any countries that you visited within 14 days of your trip to Thailand. It filled in the US for me, and I didn't visit any other countries. Now here you'll upload the receipt for the 2 PCR tests that you paid for. You can also upload additional PDFs here. I uploaded the PDF for my COVID-19 policy and for my hotel reservation. Click on Submit. Now you've submitted your Thailand Pass application. Make sure you write down the 6-digit number associated with the application. You'll need this to check the status. It might be a good idea to take a screenshot. Click OK. You've seen this notice before, so dismiss it. Now let's check the status of the application. Click on English. Type in the 6-digit access code that you obtained in the previous step. Type in your passport number. In my case, that's a 9-digit US passport number. And type in your email address. Then click the oval that says Check Profile. So the status says that your application is in review, and the approval process takes from 3 to 7 days. After I didn't get my Thailand Pass after 9 days, I contacted support at tp.consular.go.th as they suggest. I also contacted the LA Consulate by email. That seemed to have done the trick. I received my Thailand Pass soon after that. You're not done yet. On your smartphone, go to the App Store and search for the Morchana app. That's Morchana. To activate the app, you'll scan the QR code on your Thailand Pass. Of course, you're still not done. You'll need to arrange for an RT-PCR or NAT test with the sample taken within 72 hours of your departure. This may be the trickiest step in the whole process. Not only must the swab be taken within the 72-hour window, you also need to have the result by the time you arrive at the airport. Many test providers will not guarantee this. You need to have a firm commitment. There are some specialized providers who can meet this timeline. Some are located at the airport and offer 1 to 2 hour service, but you may pay $250 or more. I had my test done at my local medical group. The cost of the test was covered by Medicare. My advice is to plan carefully for this. When you get to the airport, you'll see everyone clutching a transparent folder of papers. You'll want to have one too. Your documents will be reviewed when you depart. If you have a connection, they'll be reviewed again, and they'll be reviewed on your arrival in Thailand. Make sure that you have everything listed here. Once you get on your final flight to Thailand, you can relax. You'll be given a TM6 arrival departure card to fill out on the flight. On arrival, an army of friendly Thais are there to quickly take you through the process. All you need is your sheaf of papers, your TM6 form, and your passport. The last step is your PCR swab, and then you're directed to the SHA Plus van reserved for you. When you check in at your hotel, they'll make sure that your Morchana app is working, and you'll remain in your room until your PCR test result comes back. In my case, it was about 5 hours. Then you're free. You'll need to take the second PCR test on the 5th day of your visit at a designated location. Please let me know in the comments section if you find any errors, and post any other comments or suggestions that you have. Well, that wraps up this video on how to apply for the e-visa. I hope it was helpful to you. If it was, why don't you consider reading or listening to one of my novels? You'll find links to these in the description of the video. So good luck with your application and enjoy your trip to Thailand.